ignorance against immigration, because people see other people coming to their countries and they see jobs getting taken and whatnot, and they start blaming the people instead of blaming the people that are not even so much blaming, but holding accountable the system that is perpetuating economic inequalities and the lack of jobs. And indeed, the system that perpetuates us needing to be working all the time, that's a whole other part of this, is changing our entire idea of what is human life all about. Are we meant to be working, all of us, 9 to 5 all of the time? Some people enjoy that. That's fantastic. Good for them. They should be allowed to work as much as they would like and to profit from it, you know. And of course, a fair way to be compensated for their work fairly. But my God, are we here simply to work our bones, you know, to work to the bone and to then die? I don't think so. It's such a horrible life. It's brutish. And it wastes so much time and effort, you know? Wastes so much time and effort. And so let's really, again, keep this in mind, that human beings, we're here together. We are not here to compete against each other. We are not here to, no matter how much the system may perpetuate these inequalities and perpetuate this squabbling, we need to remember that other human beings are our friends, and especially those in the same economic plight as us. We need to not turn on each other. We need to utilize that frustration, anger, that energy to have a unified effort to make positive change. Instead of, as I was saying, fighting amongst ourselves, blind to what's really going on here, which is the economic exploitation happening from somebody, an absentee authority, somebody who's far away, who's making a profit off of our work, whether it's whatever economics, whatever business we're functioning through, whether it's Walmart or especially the multinational corporations like Walmart and McDonald's and all these other companies that make insane insane amounts of money, and yet are still paying a pittance to their employees. And we all know the stories of the CEOs making $40 million while they're gutting the pensions of their employees and whatnot. And we're all, the working class, middle class, lower class, we're all quite bitter about this. And of course the upper class people who have hearts are also quite bitter about this. And so let's use that bitterness. Let's use it to push forward for positive change, using technology, using human unity, and not falling to the illusion of people being our enemies. Not even the upper class of those people in the world that are benefiting considerably from the exploitation of the masses. We need to simply change. We don't need to kill. We don't need to seize property. We need to make positive change. And again, as I said, I see the best movement for that being the minimum wage, being raised around the world, and indeed established. There's so many places that's not even established. As I was saying, the manufacturing countries that just have horrible, horrible working conditions. So, for those in this current system, as I was saying, with this dearth of jobs, there's going to be so many people who can't find work. One of my best friends and a bandmate of mine is he just recently got his master's in biotechnology, and he hasn't been able to get a job, not even through minimum wage places that he's been applying, but especially where he really should be working, at scientific enterprises. He's a genius, truly a genius. I had no idea what was going on when he was presenting his master's thesis. It was wonderfully interesting and far beyond my comprehension level, and yet he hasn't been able to find work for the last couple months, and it's mindless. As me and him were talking the other day, it's mindless at the waste of energy that's going on because of our emphasis on profitability instead of human development. The gutting of NASA, a perfect example. The gutting of scientific enterprises at the expense of production profits is mindless. And so, again, let's use this frustration as an impetus, as our motivation to move forward and to unite as people. And as I was saying before, because of that whole situation, we are going to find a lot of us sometimes for a long periods of time. So many people I know who haven't been able to find work for years, and those for even a short period of time. Let's use that time. Let's not get depressed. Let's not fall prey to the illusion that it's somehow our fault. We need to look at the economic system. Yes, let's do our best, of course, to make our way through this world, but let's not forget that this economic system we are in now is not working. It's leading to the exploitation of people doing jobs that they don't like, that they hate, for long hours to barely scrape by, with exorbitant rent prices and of course the inflation around the world that's going on. So if you find yourself out of work, don't let it emotionally affect you. Look at the big picture here and realize, whoa, huge economic inequality is occurring. My being out of work doesn't mean I'm not valuable as a human being. First of all, economic determination of a person's value is completely wrong. Don't even look at life that way. Look at yourself, look at your skills, look at your unique gifts as a human being. And I know that can be very difficult because we can really, it can be hard to gauge our own skills sometimes and our own wonderful human value that we all have. Take it from me, my whole job practically as doing astrological readings for people is showing people their human value, their innate energies, and trying to help them develop that and to encourage them to develop their natural gifts they have to give to the world. So you have those gifts. Do not kid yourself in thinking that you do not have these gifts. You are wonderfully gifted, wonderful human being. And don't let anyone else tell you that you're not. Or rather, don't listen to them. They can say whatever they want, give a shit. But don't listen to them. And so if you find yourself out of work, develop your skills. Ironically, I have so many friends who are out of work, but still, of course, naturally, being where we are now as a world technologically, they have access to wonderful communication technologies. They have access to the internet, of course. Well, of course, in so many parts of the world, I should say, of course. And of course, we need to spread that technology and that internet and electricity throughout the entire world, which is why the Electrify Africa movement is so important. I urge you to check that out and to be a part of that, as I am. To spread technology and communication abilities to other parts of the world that have not been blessed enough to have them, unfortunately. We need to change that. Again, global economy or global perspective is necessary. So if you find yourself out of work, utilize those technologies. Learn, read, find out new things, and be a part of the social economic movement towards equality in this world. Peaceful social economic movement. And as I was saying, read, educate yourself. Study what you've always been interested in but couldn't because you had a job or school or whatever. Exercise. That's a great way too to combat some of those economic blues of feeling like, oh, I can't, I'm not worth, all that illusion stuff of, oh, I'm not worth living here because I can't make tons of money and all that stuff. Let go of that stuff. Make the most of your time. And however that method is for you. And yeah, develop your skills. This is a wonderful time to be developing your skills. Don't get down on yourself. This is only temporary, and it's not going to last for forever. That's the definition of temporary. It's not going to last for forever. The only thing certain about change is that it's always changing, and this world is always changing. And around the world, we can feel the economic inequalities. We see them, and even though there's so many deceptive practices put into place so that we don't really know exactly how much exploitation is occurring, we all can feel it because we can all see it in our everyday life. So we need to unite. It's as simple as that. Peacefully, we need to unite and to push, again, to push for social and economic movements that are benefiting the people around the world as a whole. So I urge you to use your free time if you are unemployed to develop that, not just for your own sake but for the world's sake. And remember that whether you're employed or not, to say, oh, well, I'm okay, the rest of the world can go, they can go figure it out. That's going to hurt everybody in the end, including yourself, because we have, that's basically been, that's been the overall trend so far, is to be pushing for economic and social benefits for all, and then to let go of that movement because you yourself find a job, you yourself find some economic security. that security is not going to be long-lasting and indeed will wither away with time if you are not part of a movement for overall global economic security. And fairness. It's really what it comes down to, is economic fairness. People being compensated for their work, not being worked to death simply for existing. Being penalized by paying exorbitant rent prices and getting underpaid in their jobs simply for existing. And for any reason. So I urge you to keep this in perspective, this economic system we're in, and to use that time wisely and productively. This is kind of a digression, but this is also very much part of the consumerist world that we live in, is to be environmentally conscious. Of course, it's going to save you money, which is great economically, but also it's good for the world as well. And indeed, will save the world from environmental destruction and degradation, ensuring it for our children's generations and their children's generations and so on, to sustain the world. This wonderful, beautiful place that has sustained all of us and continues to do so. Be environmentally conscious. Save energy where you can. I all the time try to carpool. I try